Welcome everybody to CALLOUS Fight Night. We are starting 40 minutes later than planned thanks to Baddummy. I'm Rick Isley, apparently falling asleep and showing up late for the match, but better late than never, here we are. Baddummy is our challenger this week. Dekzeh is the defending champion. They might be waiting on me. I suppose I should just join this real quick. Password. Fucking mod chat. Alrighty, let them know that they can play. Dekzeh switching back from a Hariyama to a Fortress. Nice start for Baddummy. Gets an immediate turn 1 critical hit. That's obviously not what Dekzeh wanted. And he's going to deny spikes here via the faster Metagross, obviously, going for Boom. So if Dekzeh was heavily reliant on spikes, then I guess he's not going to have them. And unsurprisingly, Dekzeh brings out his favorite Pokemon in the whole wide world that he talks about all the time. Here is Vaporeon, which Dekzeh honestly and truly, non-ironically believes to be the most underrated Pokemon in all of ADVOU. However, he uses that as bait to draw out a certain switch, and he gets the Celebi, which is great, and it enables him to get the T-Tower in. Crunch there aimed at Celebi, good chunk to Pert. Pert not gaining lefties, indicating Endeavor Swampert with a Salic Berry. Dekzeh obviously caught on to that, and he's going to switch back here to Vaporeon. That's because the main form of offense, other than Endeavor itself for an End Pert, is going to be Surfer Hydro Pump, which of course the water-absorbing Vaporeon does not care about. Celebi comes in on a Wish. There's Calm Mind, and that's going to be instantly phased out with a Roar, so he's not going to pass that anywhere. The Wish is going to be blanked. It's just going to be kept by the Vaporeon himself, who does not need it. He'll Wish again, and Celebi comes in and will Calm Mind up again. Leech Seed coming down, immediately roared out. Here's Swampert. He's going to be the beneficiary of that Leech Seed. Vaporeon, very, very high base HP. Is going to be sapping quite a bit for that Swampert there. See what they both want to do from here. Presumably the Vaporeon gets out of the way, not wanting to remain seated. Some kind of offensive team for Baddummy. It could just be last poke Magneton. Dekzeh with a clearly more stally team. Not sure what his last two are going to be. They very well could be like, yep, a Gengar and a Blissey or something like that for the last two. Gengar coming in on Surf. He has the balls to do that Surf into the Vaporeon because he knows he's going to switch out of the Leech Seed. And here it comes now, but Baddummy obviously is not going to go ahead and do that again when it's so clear the Vaporeon can come in. And Dekzeh has the matchup that he wants in that he has a Vaporeon against a Coon, which is one of the best counters for it. You're going to be water absorbing it all day, and for a lot of Coons, most of them don't have Ice Beam. A lot of Coons, their only form of offense is a water attack, so Vaporeon could just wall it indefinitely. However, critically, because what Vaporeon really wants to do is he wants to roar it out and abuse spikes, but because Baddummy got that crit and then that explosion off on the Fortress and he denied the spikes, there's actually very little benefit for Dekzeh to roaring things out. It obviously stops Calm Mind boosts, as you see here, but it doesn't actually do damage to anything or meaningfully threaten anything. And the last two pokes for Dekzeh were, as anticipated, a Gengar and a Blissey. And the last poke for Baddummy, like I said, is probably just a Magneton, but that's yet to be determined. It could also be a Snorlax or something like that. Could be a T-Tower as well. It's a pretty damn offensive team for Baddummy, so it doesn't necessarily have to be Magneton. But it is, and we already know that there's no Scarm. Full team revealed for Dekzeh. He did have a Fortress at one point, but it's long gone, so the Mag is going to have to function normally in this situation. And he's going to be hiding behind the sub-Seed lock here that he's achieved on Blissey. Magneton going to be at full health indefinitely so long as Blissey opts to stick this out. Seismic Toss breaks the sub there, but there's nothing preventing a re-sub from coming down. Blissey will, of course, just kidding. Gonna say will, of course, switch out, but I guess she doesn't switch out in this instance. And there's a Thunderbolt aimed at something because he thought that Blissey would switch, so he thought that Thunderbolt would hit something and do meaningful damage on the way in. But Dekzeh has played around that repeatedly, not wanting something to take a Thunderbolt, but he eventually sucks it up, realizes that something is going to have to take it, and something ends up being T-Tar. It's a 38% Thunderbolt. T-Tar does have leftovers. Magneton could not kill here without a crit. Switches to Coon to absorb anything the tower might do. Blissey comes in instead. And this might be a bit of a grind, especially because the spikes never did get down. Celebi coming in, we've seen Combine, Leech Seed, Giga Drain from it. It seems unlikely to me, actually it seems impossible to me, that it would be Combine one attack only, and the one attack is the 8 PP Giga Drain. So the last move is not going to be recovered in this instance. It's got to just be another attack. I would think if the last attack were Psychic that maybe he would opt for HP Grass instead, but maybe not. Maybe he's using Giga Drain because he doesn't have Recover and he wants to get as much recovery as he can. But it could easily be Psychic or Hidden Power Fire as the last attack for the Celebi, but it's just not going to break through the Blissey. And it's interesting that Baddummy's team, in which half the Pokemon, the Coon, the Celebi, and the Magneton, are walled pretty hard by Blissey. It's interesting that Baddummy doesn't have a Dugtrio, doesn't have things to bait the Blissey, such as a Boom Gar or a Boom Regice. He seems just perfectly content to be walled by that Blissey over and over, and in fact, that has played out exactly that way. Toxic connecting with Hariyama, that could possibly trigger a Guts boost. Hariyama does have the option to have Guts. He could also simply have Thick Fat here. That's yet to be determined. Knockoff here, going to be blocked by Sub. I don't know if I love that move from Dekzeh, since we know that it's an Endeavor Purge. I'm sure he figured that out earlier. He can just Whirlwind it away, though, if that's what he wants to do. Instead, he's going to go to Vaporeon, who's also a phaser. So there's phasing moves for both of these Pokemon, further supporting how good of a move it was for Baddummy to blow up on that Fortress. Now, granted, he got a critical hit before it, which made that a bit easier. But he made the right call to blow up on the Fortress, and likewise, Dekzeh did not anticipate that and get the Fortress out of the way and get something else blown up on, because the fact that Dekzeh has not had any spikes this whole time is super, super important, as it turns out. Had he gotten spikes down, these phasers would be so much more dangerous, and Dekzeh would have a much more realistic way to whittle down the team of Baddummy, but because he's not doing any residual damage on all these forced switches, if Dekzeh were to win this game, it is going to go for a long time. We are going to be in for a grind if indeed Dekzeh is to win. Now, like I said, of the Pokemon remaining for Baddummy, 5 of them, 3 of those Pokemon really, really have a hard time breaking through Blissey. We don't know what kind of Salamence it is. DD is probably the ideal thing that he's looking for in this situation, and it makes a lot of sense with the Magneton as well. If it were hypothetically a mixed Mence, that's also potentially dangerous here. A Choice Bander, I believe Leftovers was knocked off, so it was not a Choice Bander. We know that much, so it's either a Wish Mence, which is the least likely scenario, a mixed Mence, or a DD Mence. DD with the Magneton makes the most sense to me, but it's not guaranteed. It could be mixed. Hariyama did go down for Dekzeh, so Baddummy with the lead. And by the way, we have not, in the young life of CALLOUS Fight Night, we have not had a single champion actually defend their crown. Every single time, other than the inaugural week where there was no champion, every single time we have simply had the player who is the challenger end up winning. We're only 4 weeks in, so it's obviously a small sample size, but it's interesting that we've not had a single champ defend their title yet. And I'm not calling this game over. Dekzeh could very well win this game, but it looks to me like Baddummy is ahead at the moment. He's simply up a Pokemon right now at 5-4. I think Dekzeh's team has a hard time winning without those spikes. He can not lose for a long time. He's got a nice little defensive core, but I don't know how he can actually win. And I believe that Baddummy is in a really good position and is probably going to win this game. And if that's the case, the trend of champions being unable to defend their throne is going to continue. Crunch there, despite resistance, will pop the Mag Sub. It's just so weak and so low HP. But Magneton here with Sub is really, really harassing Dekzeh and his team. There are no spikes beneath his team either, so things can switch repeatedly, but eventually Magneton can punish something on the switch. He can Toxic to force anything other than the Gengar to either eat it or switch out, And then he could punish things on the switch with another Toxic or with a Thunderbolt. So Magneton is really able to force the action here. Now granted, he does not have the aid of Leech Seed that he's had in previous scenarios, so he cannot do this indefinitely, but nevertheless, Magneton doing a lot of work here. Fishes for a Thunderbolt on something on the switch, does get a critical hit, but he doesn't find the switch. However, Blissey quite low now. Magneton subbing up, he's down to 3%. Blissey going to soft boil for dear life, but a lot of that is going to be negated right back from the Toxic. She's at 53%. She must switch. Free opportunity for Magneton to do something, and that something turns out to be Thunderbolt on the T-Tower on the way in, and he can hit it again here. However, he over-predicts with Toxic. Crunch comes down to pop the sub. Mag cannot reestablish another. He doesn't have enough HP, so he goes for the Thunderbolt. That's a damage roll situation. The last one did 38%, which would not have been enough, but this one does 39% and takes down the T-Tower. And Baddummy furthers his lead. Dekzeh falling behind here. 5-3 situation now, and the window closing for Dekzeh to be able to win this game. This is a supportive set of Bliss that does not seem like something that can realistically sweep. The Vaporeon does not appear to be either. That hidden power is neutral there. It's not HP Grass. Looks like HP Flying, so it looks like it is, in fact, just a DD Mence, which is fine in this situation. Gengar is going to be the best threat here for Dekzeh, and basically his only hope at this point to try to clean up this game. And Gengar is very dangerous for the team of Baddummy. He does not have a traditional special wall in a Regice or a Lax or a Blissey. So Gengar, with the right BS, whether it's a crit or a freeze or whatever, does have a decent shot here, or at least more than zero shot, to get Dekzeh back into this game. And the last move for Celebi is revealed to be Psychic, so he's using Giga Drain not because he's using Hidden Power or something else, but because he wants to supplement his recovery. He doesn't actually have Recover, so he's using Leech Seed and Giga Drain to get his HP back. Here comes Magneton, that is instantly Fire Blasted into Oblivion, so a little bit of catch-up for Dekzeh. He was behind 5-2 not long ago, but it's now 2-3, so he has made up some ground, but Baddummy still, in my opinion, in a commanding position, and I believe he's going to take this down, but we'll see how Dekzeh handles it. Here comes Gengar into the Calm Mind for the Coon. BS going to be needed here, whether that's a crit Thunderbolt or a Para or a Freeze. Maybe he's got Hypnosis, but he's going to need some kind of BS. He cannot beat this Coon in a straight fight given the circumstances. That Calm Mind is going to tip the favor to Baddummy. He's not going to try to fight this fight. He's going to go to Blissey here. Surf 26% at +1. Would die to a crit should Baddummy fish for it here, and he does. Goes straight for it. That's going to prompt the obvious soft-boiled for Dekzeh with Blissey. Does he fish for a crit again? It would probably still, or no, it would not kill him anymore, so he's out of range. He goes Calm Mind here for a second time. Blissey with the obligatory soft-boiled. No meaningful way to threaten the Coon here. The best he could do is Toxic it, eventually force it to sleep, and then hope the Gengar can come in and crit it out. So this Coon is in great position to win this game for Baddummy, and Dekzeh is going to have to find a way out of this. We don't know if the Coon has rest. It's a good bet that he does. Seismic Toss showing 25%, meaning it's doing 100% out of 404, and that Coon is obviously very bulky. He's going to get a rest off unexpectedly. He's going to do that early, which is a good thing. No Sleep Talk is shown here, so we don't know the last move. Calm Mind, Rest, Surf, and then the last move is going to be either Ice Beam or Roar. Either or here. Roar is not overly relevant since Dekzeh does not have either poke that wants to try to use a setup move that can be roared away. Here comes Gengar. Fishing for crits here. Non-crit Thunderbolt 20%. And he does actually have Sleep Talk. He's been sandbagging it the whole time, and he tries to kill Gengar with a Sleep Talk Surf, but he doesn't find it. Gengar takes another shot at a crit, doesn't find it. Failed Sleep Talk number 2 as he finds Rest once again. So he doesn't find Surf. Thunderbolt 16%. Here's the Wake Up Now. Surf a one-hit KO. And Blissey the only Pokemon remaining. I believe that's the ball game. I don't think even a crit would be enough. And he's not going to have an opportunity. Coon is going to be the Pokemon that cleans it up here. Blissey has no chance to win. Toxic can't do it against the Restmon. Fire Blast does nothing against a calm-minded Coon, and he's going to run very quickly out of PP, and Seismic Toss obviously can never crit or do anything above the exact damage of 100 that it does. He would easily be stalled out here by the Coon. Dekzeh not going to make us go through the motions, and the winner is going to be Baddummy. Once again, continuing the trend of champions being unable to defend their crown and the challenger winning every single week up to this point. So Baddummy, if he shows up on time, cough, cough, hint, hint, is going to have a new opponent next week, and I'm excited to find out who that is. We're going to check that out together. I've got Jabba talking to me. Fuck him, he sucks. This guy, Rabocop, Ten Shinahan, or whatever, is pretty nice. He's a Spanish dude. He's been talking to me about the upcoming Pokemon Online Grand Prix that you dudes should all join. If you haven't done so already, there's only a week left in signups. But more importantly, while all this chit-chat is going on, we're going to go here, check out our current challenger pool. And I bumped up Techless 1 because he was a nice guy and he was the first person who was willing to fill in if Baddummy didn't show, which it was moments away from looking like he wasn't. So here is our challenger pool. Note that Sam Best and Posse G have both opted to come back into the challenger pool after already playing CALLOUS Fight Night. But of course, they're going to start at 1 entry, whereas these guys who have been in here the whole time get bumped up every single time that they don't get picked. So, with all that said, let's do a little count here. 4, 8, 12, 16, 21, 25, 28, 30, 32, 35. Is that right? I just want to do that again, so I'm making sure I give everybody a fair chance here. 4, 8, 12, 16, 21, 25, 28, 30, 32, 3, 4, 5. All right. So 1 through 35, we're going to be drawing the opponent now. Oh, cool. Gaku wants to play. I'll get him in there for future weeks. So in the meantime, we will go over here as we always do. So we're going to do random number generator, 1 through that many. Alrighty. And now 1 through 35. So, as we always do, we're only going to do it once. Whatever it lands on, it lands on. 1 through 35. Baddummy's opponent will be number 23. And that is... check on 23 here. 4, 8, 12, 16... Is that Coco? I believe that's Coco. 4, 8, 12, 16, 21. Yep, 22, 23, 24, 25. Yep. So that is going to be Coco. That is Hellpona. He is going to be the opponent next week. Stay tuned for Baddummy against Hellpona. And I will see you guys next time for CALLOUS Fight Night. Thanks for watching.